And our second question. Indian River Shores and the city appear far apart on the sale of Indian River Shores electric customers to FPL. Do you think this is resolvable, recognizing that should Indian River Shores win its current lawsuit with the city, Vero Beach may get no compensation?
I'm sorry, Laura Moss here. Could you please repeat just the second half of
Absolutely.
it?
Do you think this is resolvable, recognizing that should Indian River Shores win its current lawsuit with the city, Vero Beach may get no compensation?
Yes, I think, you know, the offer that was made for $13 million by FPL for Indian River Shores was made in the context of a year ago there being a memorandum that stated that that was the approximate value of it. I remember seeing that piece of paper. So this that was a fair price given that context, and then to jack it up to 64.5, which was to include contractual liabilities among other things, and even Attorney Wright couldn't remember all of them yesterday at the Utilities Commission meeting. It's just, you know, personally, I don't think it is a real number, and if it is a real number, it's a very frightening number when you realize that Indian River Shores is less than 10% of the entire system. So I don't know, you want to throw up your hands at that kind of thing, but you can't. You have to keep going. Is there anything else that I can say on that? Does that answer
Just
your
for
question?
clarification, the focus of the question was, do you feel that this is resolvable?
Do I feel that it can be resolved in terms of negotiation?
Sure.
Yes, I think it can be. Will it be? No, not right now, but I think it can be, yes.
The first answer to
This is Mr. Dick Winger.
The first answer to the question, is it resolvable? Yes, the city made a good faith effort to suggest that they're somebody that really is equipped to adjudicate it, namely the Public Service Commission. That might take legislation to do that, but it was a good faith offer, and I think it can be adjudicated. As far as no compensation goes, there's no court of the United States of America that would seize the assets of the people of Vero Beach, the people of Vero Beach. You own this thing, and not give just compensation. And I can list, and I won't take the time, all 5 components: stranded pension, contingent liability in St. Lucie, the stranded OUC, which will be reduced somewhat, the FMPA, which is hundreds of millions of dollars, and the 64.5 is, in my opinion, a low number. Be that as it may, if this went to court, and if the city were to lose in court, the court would then have to adjudicate what the value was, and I think the value that Indian River Shores would pay would be a very, very high number. I don't think it would be nothing at all. I don't think any court is going to seize the assets and the stranded liabilities of the people of Vero Beach. It just won't happen. But it should be resolved the way we suggested, or some similar way.
Yeah, Brian Hetty, is it resolvable? Of course, the offer from FP&L is $170 million or so. Indian River Shores is about 10%. That's $17 million. Their offer on the table is $13 million. Kick it up to $17 million and give FPL Indian River Shores territory starting tomorrow morning. And if I'm elected, that'll be the first motion that I make, is to do that. We can settle this, and we can settle it quickly and easily. It's worth about $17 million. It's 10% of a $170 million offer. You don't need to be a genius, and you don't need $1 million attorney or $3 million worth of consultant fees to figure it out. Take the $17 million and turn Indian River Shores over to FPL immediately.
I would have to agree.
Miss Amelia Graves?
Miss Amelia Graves. I would have to agree with Mayor Ringer. Even if Indian River Shores is separated from the city of Vero Beach's electric, they will have to pay us fair market value, and the court will determine what that number is. So the idea that we would end with no compensation isn't a reality. I am upset at the delta between the costs put forward by FPL and the costs that we estimated for the sale. I wish they were closer together. I do wish that we could make FPL FPL whole Indian River Shores, if that was a possibility, but we run into the same problems, contingent liabilities. Nobody at the end of the day wants to be the one holding the liability without the revenue. So what are you going to do?
Okay, thank you. We'll move to Mr. Winger for the next question, question number 3. Mr. Howell. Thank you, audience. You're on top of it.
Thank you, Mr. Tanner. Harry Howell again. Okay, maybe I don't have to stand up every time I do this, but question was, is it resolvable? Yes, absolutely, it's resolvable. There's a dollar amount on the table, approximately $13 million. That number has not even attempted to be negotiated. I think it could be negotiated, but coming back to the table at $64.5 million is an insult. Now the Shores, compared to Vero Beach, has a lot of experts whose resumes and experience absolutely blow away the experience that the city has, even in terms of the folks that they've hired to spend our tax-paying money to solve this thing. Mayor Winger says it's a good faith offer. Mayor Winger, I have a $30,000 car in the parking lot I'd like to offer to you for $145,000. How's that sound? Pretty good? That's good faith. That's all.
Now we'll move on to question number 3. Thank you guys for correcting me. Does the question of the annual funds transfer from the utilities to the general fund, paid 60% by non-city residents, amount to an ethical issue from your perspective? Why or why not?
This is Dick Winger. First of all, this year in the budget, the provisional number was a reduction of $50,000 in the transfer. I tried to push several $100,000. I got a reduction of $200,000, which will therefore lower rates by some very, very small amount. Next year, because the buildings are going to go down, we will be reducing the transfer, it looks like $500,000. So we're well on the way. One thing to realize that every dollar of reduction in transfer actually increases the taxes of city people to $2.50 for what it's worth, because it's the 40% of the people that live in the city. I will tell you, I have in front of me the 26 municipal utilities in the state of Florida and what they transfer to the general fund. There's one lower, which is Blountstown, which is, and there is one other, one at 5.9%, one at 4% Newberry, but basically we're very, very low in the 6% transfer. This utility has tremendous risk. I don't know whether you know it or not, but we have 1.4% exposure to St. Lucie. It's got some problems, and it could be many billions of dollars, like San Diego in California, or 3 million. So, you know, in effect, the city is entitled to some remuneration for the risk and for the investment.
Okay, I'm going to give you about maybe 10 seconds, but I just want clarification. Do you or do you not feel that it's an ethical issue?
No, I don't. I think, is Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, which are government entities that make a profit, is there an ethical issue there? To answer your question, I would rather sell this utility and have it be investor-owned, and then we wouldn't have the issue. We haven't figured out how to do that. But if we own it, we get 6%, Florida Power & Light gets 11%, so there you go.
Thank you.
Is it an ethical issue? OUC makes a return on their investment, FP&L makes a return on their investment, Vero Beach makes a return on their investment. I don't know why Vero Beach constantly gets beat up saying this is an ethical issue. Of course it's not. And I know that's not the answer that people want to hear, but it's not an ethical issue. They should make a return on their investment. The only ethical issue involved here is Indian River Shores, and the county want to go someplace else, and I would say let my people go. Let them go. Sell it to Indian River Shores or to FP&L, sell that portion the same way with the county, and then see what Vero Beach can do running its own power plant with its own city residents.
I don't believe it's an ethical issue. The county collects a franchise fee, which county commissioners like to lecture me, I don't understand, simply for the use of a right-of-way. They collect 6%. We collect 6% for actually doing the work, hanging the lines, running the transmission, and putting our people out there. And the state of Florida has even said that utilities can bring in up to a 14% return. We are nowhere near that number. We are taking a 6% return. On these services are being returned back to the citizens through the county seat. Anytime you come to the courthouse, anytime you drive downtown, anytime you cross the bridge, you use Ocean Drive, Riverside Park, Center for the Arts, all of these things that I've seen many of you sitting in this audience attending and enjoying are coming from some of that return. So if you don't want to enjoy them, we can cut it and eliminate it. But then all of a sudden, all of these things that we've always enjoyed that have been part of the fabric of our community, how will we pay for them?
Thank you, Lord. Harry Howell, again. Is this an ethical issue? Of course it's an ethical issue. This is taxation rather than representation. It's un-American. And I recall something sounded a lot like the Boston Tea Party, where there was a revolt because of taxation. The reductions that we've talked about, one I mentioned a moment ago, $200,000 is really quite literally a drop in the bucket. The Fannie Mae reference and the Freddie Mac reference, that is a perfect example of what big government and bureaucracy can do. Remember, what's the saying? A government big enough to give you everything is a government big enough to take it all away. That's how I feel about this. It's un-American. Thank you.
Laura Moss. Yes, I do think you could make the argument that there are ethical issues here. Of course, the obvious one is taxation, but also beyond that, holding people hostage financially with an unregulated monopoly. I think that there are ethical issues there as well.
Thank you for your answers. We'll move on to question 4. The population of Vero Beach is 30% less than Sebastian, yet the number of Vero Beach city employees is greater than Sebastian. What is your perspective on this, and what action, if any, should be taken?
I don't know that there's any relevance at all to the number of employees in Vero versus the number of employees in Sebastian. The question, seems to me, is are the employees of the city of Vero Beach, are they doing their job, or are they sitting back doing nothing? And I think that's a management question. If the city employees are doing their job and doing whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, whether it's the electric or the utilities or the maintenance in the streets and parks, I think that they're doing a good job. I don't have a problem with the number of employees in the city of Vero Beach. And I think that the city employees are not the problem here. And they take the heat all the time. The city employees, the worker bees, are not the problem.
Amelia Graves. I have tremendous respect for our staff. It is amazing the amount of work they do. Some of our department heads work well beyond the hours that we ask them to, specifically Rob Slezak in Recreation. The number of events and festivals that we have in this community each year it's numerous. And I see people out here who've organized festivals and have relied on the city of Vero Beach to bring to us the barricades, bringing in the police, doing the different lights. There's so much that goes into this. I don't know that Sebastian has as many festivals as we have in Riverside Park. Almost every single weekend there's something brewing in Vero Beach, and it requires a tremendous amount of staff to carry that on. And our attendance during season is rising dramatically. The Indian River Chamber of Commerce has released numbers that our tourism is up well beyond it, like that it has been in years. This includes more people coming to the beaches. Our season is beginning sooner and ending later. This is all draining on our staff. So we constantly have people out there doing double duty, and we have people taking on multiple roles within our operation to try and keep staff numbers down, but still deliver services.
Harry Howell again. Each municipality offers its own set of unique situations. The number of parks, Brian in fact mentioned this. There are a lot of very specific issues that each municipality must look at before it decides who and what they need. What I do believe is that jobs within the city should be kept based on needs and performance, not simply tenure. And a government should not be run like a business, it should be run like a government. So does Sebastian need 30% less per capita than we have in Vero Beach? I don't know. I don't know that maybe it meets their needs. Our needs are unique, and so you have to look at it in each individual person, each individual job to decide if they are needed or not.
Laura Moss, and I know we have about 400 city employees, a little bit under. What's interesting, by the way, is that the Tea Party asked this question in the video that I watched last night. It was in 2012 video, happened to be the last question there. But this year, or for those who don't know, we added 2 new police officers, 2 new full-time lifeguards, recreation coordinator, 2 new positions in finance and information technology, a salary increase for 3% of all employees, an increase of 4.3% in health insurance rates, and contributions to the new defined contribution plan. So it doesn't sound like a lot of people having been added, but I know it surprised me, and it might surprise the community, that when you add what doesn't sound like a lot of people, by the time you pay for the health care and the pension and all the rest of it, it turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think that's something we need to consider in terms of maybe having a closer relationship with the community. Do you really want to spend that kind of money for these extra people? I don't know the answer to that, but I think I would look to address that.
Well, I agree with Ms. Graves, and that and Mr. Hetty. The city employees are not the problem, and the city staff is doing a wonderful job. For what it's worth, in the last 4 or 5 years, I'm not sure whether it's 4 or 5, we've gone from 527 to last year to 397 to this coming budget of 394, and we're actually getting more done with fewer people. We operate 17 parks, we have 6 enterprises, we have the 6th busiest airport in the state of Florida, and the 42nd busiest in the United States of America. We operate all sorts of things. We operate a marina, electric company, which we didn't, water and sewer company, which is state-of-the-art, and which we're putting in the step system and getting rid of septic tanks. Really, quite frankly, you know, services cost money, and Vero Beach has always been a full-service city, and I think that's what people want. They want parades. They want fast reaction, between 2 and 3 minute reaction from the police. And these things cost money, so quite frankly, we looked at, back a little time ago, at benchmarking and found out that it really was kind of useless, because the reality is every city is different, and we've heard other people up here say that, and we have a unique situation, but I think we're doing a wonderful job with it.
Okay, we're on to our final question. Ms. Graves? Recently, in a 2-3 vote, the City Council increased the property tax millage rate by 17%. Those running for election, please state how you would have voted on this increase and why. Incumbents seeking re-election, please explain why you voted in favor of this increase.
I voted in favor of this increase for a multitude of reasons. One, we have rising costs, and our millage rate had sat stagnant for a long time. And that's really our fault that we weren't doing a slow tick up like some of the other local governments that have been doing that. Second, switching our pension program from defined benefit to defined contribution is a more expensive process in the short run for more long-term, like a lower long-term liability. Third, we needed to add 2 new police officers, 2 new lifeguards, and we were overdue for a raise for our workers. And also, ultimately, at the end of the goal, and you have heard this if you've attended our budget meetings, you've heard this if you've attended our city council meetings, we are trying to become less dependent on our electric revenue, whether that means us dropping rates or cutting in other ways possible. And by raising the millage rate, you will be paying less in additional taxes than you would be paying in electric bills. So if we can keep your electric bills down and your taxes go up slightly, it's a better trade-off. An $150,000 home, we pay in the city of Vero Beach about $35 extra this year for all of the things I just listed.
Thank you. Harry Howell again. Tax increases are something that I am against fundamentally. I believe that they're only necessary in the most dire of times, which I hope we're not in with regard to the city as a whole. I would not have voted for a tax increase. In fact, I would rather see something like a zero-based budget. And I think if you go to a zero-based budget, you'll find out there's a lot of fat that you don't know about still in our government system. In my opinion, there are too many taxes already, and that is a direct show of the fact that we spend money in ways that we don't even realize. So there's always room to cut. There's no need for a tax increase. I would not vote for it.
Laura Moss, I would have voted no. I've tried to be out speaking with the community and listening. And actually, there are two big issues that keep coming up, and one of which is taxes. The other, of course, is utilities, which probably comes as no surprise to anyone. But I've had people, people I don't know, calling me at home, God bless you, all of you, who are upset about the tax increase. And as I just gave the statistics in answer to the last question, I myself was surprised because it doesn't sound like you're adding a lot. Oh, it's just, two of this and two of that, and what could that come to? Well, it comes to quite a large amount, and a 3% increase is also, as it turns out. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, and it all adds up very, very quickly.
I voted for the tax increase. The last tax change we had was many years ago. It was a reduction, not an increase. Other governments have been going up year by year. And we went from 204, the provisional was 268. I've sat through 5 budget sessions. They weren't zero budget, but they were very close to it. We spent 3 or 4 days going over every item down to $5,000, quite frankly. And, I promoted reducing the 264 to 238, which represents $34 per $100,000 of value. And quite frankly, it's needed. We have to have pay increases. $100,000 is medical insurance. I don't know what we do about it. $200,000 of it went to the pension, which we have fixed that for the future. It'll take time to pay off. And the balance of it, about $300,000, went for the employee that Mrs. Moss said. The other $200,000 of the $1.1 million, since it was $1.1 million, was the reduction in transfer that I pushed for. And it was absolutely needed. If you want Vero Beach to be Vero Beach, it costs money, I'm sorry. But we're 367th in taxes in the state of Florida, including very small communities. Out of 411, we are now 327. We have very, very low taxes. Our taxes are about 40% of the county tax rate, for what it's worth.
Would I have voted yes for a tax increase? No. I tell the city manager to bring back a budget that fits within our income. And if he doesn't do that, then he can bring back his resignation.